41 of the Motor City Metrics podcast. We're here to talk about Detroit Tiger baseball and a few things MLB tonight. As you can see, I am flying solo. This has been the beer hall putsch. I'm taking over. The other guys are just out, and I'm sending them down. I'm bringing up Colt Keith and Justin Henry Malloy. No. Just kidding. The boys are in various places tonight. Raj is on his way, should be here soon. We're going to talk a lot about where the Tigers are, what's happened in this kind of sullen week of baseball, and where things are going to go in September. Hopefully some of you folks are watching today. Afternoon game, beautiful day in Detroit. The Tigers came out and luckily broke their losing streak. It had been a pretty sad week. We were on Monday night. They had been dominated over the weekend by the Astros. The Yankees rolled into town and took 3 games, and they were looking for their first 4-game sweep in Detroit since the 1920s. Something like 66 consecutive 4-game series over the years since then that they had played in Detroit, and they had never swept one. So today was their chance for 4 in a row, and to Detroit's credit, they came out and played a pretty good game today. It got kind of dicey at the end, which we'll talk about, but it was good to see a few things break Detroit's way. Matt Manning, let's talk about him first. He took the hill today. He's doing some incredible things. Over his last few outings, I believe he's gone 23 outings, allowing 2 earned runs, just limiting contact, hard contact, and getting outs and just getting through 6 innings every start, looking very good doing it. Not striking out a ton of guys, but also not walking a lot of guys, not allowing a lot of power. Very impressive. He's moving the ball around the zone. He used his slider a bit more than his fastball today. Got away with it. He kept it in the yard against a team with a few power hitters, although Aaron Judge was out. Let's put that out there. Anytime Aaron Judge is out, you're pretty happy. So that worked out pretty well for Detroit today. Really what happened, a couple of nice defensive plays as well behind Manning and then his bullpen. When Jason Foley came out there, he's been a little up and down lately. Foley got a great play by Zach Short, who ended up having quite an impact on this game. Zach Short hit the home run today, was on base another time, made a wonderful play for Foley behind the mound on a chopper that looked like it was going to be a really cheap base hit that could start a rally. But then, of course, in the 9th, Zach Short's out there, makes a diving play at short, goes to scoop it to second base to Ibanez, and fumbled the ball for a half second. Allowed the runner to get to first and missed the double play. And sure enough, 2 pitches later, Anthony Volpe puts one into the seats against Alex Lang. So Alex Lang came in today, getting the save opportunity. Again, he's been kind of enigmatic throughout the entire summer, and that's probably being kind for a lot of what we saw. And today was just another one of those things. Certainly, if he had gotten the double play, he gets out of the inning, everything looks fine. The hits he gave up, it was interesting. The first one was a bunt hit. Okay, fine. They took advantage of a shift. The second one was a blooper. Looked like a big swing. The guy just didn't really catch all of it and ended up landing in no man's land in front of Meadows and Green. So, but then also Lang it seemed like his curveball, he was kind of letting it up in the zone, and luckily the Yankees just weren't mashing early in the inning. And then he almost got out of it, gets the bad break with Short, and then Volpe takes him deep. So he rebounded to get Stanton right away in 2 pitches. So it's just kind of one of those outings again. You hate you don't want to say Lang was terrible, but at the same time he didn't look impressive. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot more of down the stretch, kind of up and down, unless they really get something figured out with him. His fastball is just very hittable when it's in the zone, and he's just not spotting it well. And like Volpe took that one deep today. So I really think what's probably going to happen is they're going to let Lang at least close, unless the roof really caves in, probably for the rest of the season. They might as well give him these opportunities. He is their closer. He probably will share a little bit with Foley, and that will work out fine to get through the season. So where is Detroit? They again, with the Yankee series, kind of proving the Tigers are just not up to snuff. If they were in the AL East, for instance, the record has been woeful against the East all year. And again, this series this week showed a team that's not the vintage Yankee team that we have seen over the last few decades. They're not a powerhouse team. They are deeply flawed in a lot of respects, and a little bit thin in some spots on their roster. And that's reflected in their standing in the AL East. They're in last place. But for a last place team, there are some good ball players there. And they came into Detroit and they were ready to beat the Tigers for the first three, and they were convincing wins. There was nothing fluky about any of them. So what goes on from there, it just shows us where Detroit stands in terms of what needs to happen over the next few months. Because yes, the division itself that the Tigers are in the Central should be pretty winnable. And in a lot of respects, you can say, well, all that matters is if they win their division, and if they get into the playoffs, that's fine. But I think we're seeing when Spencer Torkelson and Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green aren't really super hot. There's no one else in that lineup that strikes fear into very many pitching staffs around the league. There's just no depth to the lineup. There's a lot of close to automatic outs, and we'll just have to, going forward, see if Detroit can lengthen that lineup a little bit. The goal, what's the goal? The goal is to win the World Series, right? That is the overall goal in Detroit, I hope. Not to win the AL Central. You can say you got to do one before the other, yes. But again, if you're going to go all the way, beating teams like the Yankees should be just part and parcel of getting it done. And again, this week, barring with the exception of today's win, which was very nice, without Judge in the lineup, you saw the chasm between what the Yankees are, even in a weakened state, and what Detroit is at the present time, and it's not good. So where do they go? We're going to talk a lot about those things. We're going to talk, tonight, Colt Keith and Justin Henry Malloy have hit back-to-back home runs in Toledo to once again add fuel to the fire to all the folks out there who want to see the Tigers make the move and bring those two youngsters to the big leagues and get their career started, and start 2024 in 2023. I mean, that's really what this is about, right? Bringing up Colt Keith and Justin Henry Malloy and maybe Wenceel Perez and whoever else you care to name who's playing. Kreidler hit a home run, I believe, tonight as well. Bringing those players up now is just a start for 2024. It has nothing to do with 2023. The Tigers are not contending. So whether those youngsters can help them win a few more games down the stretch in September, that's fine. I mean, you're happy about that. But it's really about, A, getting them situated in the major leagues, and B, seeing what they have at the present time, how much more work they would need throughout the winter and into next spring, and C, are they ready to face big league pitching and be successful and help the team win in 2024? All those things are very possible to find out over the course of a month. But there's always that old saying, the things you see in September aren't always real for those young guys. So, do you think Scott Harris is ready to, I don't want to say sacrifice the service time, but to just bring them on board, really shake up what I believe has been his plan, has been to wait and be patient with those guys and then launch their careers next year in the big leagues at some point. It's really hard to say. I mean, I understand all the people out there who are, interested in starting sooner and getting those players in the majors and seeing less of Zach McKinstry and seeing less of Zach Short and less of Andy Ibanez and Akil Baddoo and a few others who have been sources of consternation all the time. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I just have a sense that Scott Harris is going to stick with whatever his plan was and isn't going to let some short-term happiness change what may be his principles in terms of letting those players start next season. And there's also the fact, they might want them to be down in the minors for the playoffs when they start. People kind of scoff at that sometimes, but I think those kind of things are important for players to participate in the playoffs, in AA especially. Let the owners make some money and put a good product out there. Also, where we go next year with this club probably isn't that dependent on what you see from Justin Henry Malloy and Keith in 60 to 70 at bats this fall, right? I mean, I think they know what they have. That might be part of it too. They just want them to work on their defense in the minor leagues and then, work through the winter, get ready for spring, hopefully make the big club out of Lakeland. But you also have to look at the arguments made out there that, the season's over in Detroit. They're kind of playing out this string. Why couldn't they be working on their offense in Detroit and also learn playing defense in the big leagues? Because if the Tigers win a couple less games throughout the course of September, who cares? It's really not that big of a deal. We just don't know. And that's, again, something we've talked about many times. We don't really know yet. And I know he's been here a year. We don't really know yet what Scott Harris's MO truly is. That's something we're going to have to learn over the course of, the better part of a half of a decade before we really get a sense of what his management style is. He comes here as, obviously he had his time in San Francisco, but he wasn't the man in charge. And with that said, oh, hey, Raj is here. Raj,
sorry about
have you been there long?
No, I just literally got on. I thought John was going to be here with you. So,
I've just been talking and talking.
Oh, it's
anybody out there who does a solo show. Congratulations to them.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
I did it the other day for the first time. Like I went solo for almost a half hour with Chris, and that was weird. That was really weird. But nevertheless, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
No, it's fine. I'm tired.
No, so by the way, props to Stan who gave me some news about Winfield Perez and Andre Lipsius were pulled in the 7th inning of the Toledo game tonight.
Ooh.
So they're both on the 40-man roster, and so it's something worth considering.
Interesting. Well, Lipsius hit a homer tonight.
Yeah. And outside of Colt Keith, Winfield Perez is the second best hitter in Toledo over the last 60 days or since the middle of July, really. But yeah, there's and you were doing a fantastic job. I'm sorry, I feel like I threw you off the whole thing here.
No, not at all. I'm ready. Let's do our show. That's fine with me.
All right. So welcome into another episode. Thank you for everybody who's sticking around on YouTube here. Appreciate the kind support for Youper. Youper is I could it's nice that after doing this for almost a decade that if Chris and I cannot do the show, I know that I could trust the hands with Youper or John. So a lot to get to today. We're just talking about those two that are potentially could get called up. I think it would be. We'll see what happens here as the Tigers head to Chicago to take on the White Sox. We're going to talk about the White Sox a little bit. They have a new man in charge. They have a Michigan man in charge. Necessarily, White Sox fans are not too thrilled about that. We'll get to that. But let's start with the kind of news today a little bit with Casey Mize do a bullpen session at Comerica Park and then shut it down halfway through. And so
Hmm.
I have what he said right here, Uber. So let me pull that up real quick because I thought did you see what he said?
No, I did
Statement.
not.
Here's a statement right here. I'm gonna put it on the screen for everybody here. And so for everybody who's watching us on YouTube right now, Lipsius was the other one that got pulled out of the inning. Their Deadly Ninja Bees. So for those at home, I'm gonna just read just a paragraph from it, and you can find the rest of the article. Evan Pitzel did a really good job with it. Just read the first part. Quote: "No concerns. I love being up there throughout the process, but this is the stuff you're all seeing for the first time. This is not linear at all. In Lakeland, guys missed months with setbacks during this, and nobody hears about it because they're away. There's just fatigue and feelings that are coming along with hitting a new step or doing something new that I'm going to have to work through. I've been doing this the entire process, and I'm going to do it now. There's nothing new and nothing concerning from our end for what the process looks like. It's just a hurdle to get through." And then he goes on and talks a little bit more. And I'll just read the whole thing. That's a slightly negative part about it. No hate or anything, but that's the stuff you guys are able to see when we're up keeping out of spotlight down here in Lakeland. I still wouldn't trade it. I love being up here. I love it. But I'm just saying, you are all seeing the process of what it really looks like. It's not linear. It's not pretty. It's not amazing. It's ugly and it's tough. There's stuff that comes that comes up that you wish it wouldn't. But you do what you got to do to get ahead or you get through. That's what we're going to do. Overall, I feel good about the direction I'm heading in and feel really good about everything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that pops out in my mind is I understand what he's saying. It's not like every time you take the mound, you're going to feel 3% better than you did the time before. It makes sense that different little aches and pains come up. I mean, who knows? I mean, he might have had, a little twinge in his hip or something, or just a bad back for a day, and you just don't want to hurt your arm while you're going through that. So I can see shutting it down if you're feeling a little just mildly uncomfortable, and go at it again the next time.
Yeah, and the thing is, the velocity was encouraging. You heard 94, 95, so that was encouraging. Again, I didn't think too much of it either. I mean, it's just one of those things where you saw this, and my firsthand experience was going down when I went to Lakeland this year and seeing like Michael Lorenz and it was Sunset Turbo. Just they would stop and just would have it for the day. I mean, especially early on, there's kind of fine tuning everything a little bit. So maybe there's something that, especially him coming off the surgery he did. I don't know. I know Tiger fans want him back in the rotation, and like because their rotation's been the other part of the rotation. By the way, speaking of that, Alex Fado is going to be a multi-inning reliever per Angie Hinch, and Evan Woodbury tweeted out earlier today about that. So
I did see that.
So I understand why fans will be frustrated because the depth is right now. It's bare bones right now. It's bare bones at the moment, and so yeah, I don't know. I'm not really worried about what he said. Really, honestly, it is what it is.
We just talked about him the other day, but I'll reiterate a little bit of what I said. I'm excited to see him next year when they give him the full go, and what kind of pitcher we see in Casey Mize. Only because back in his draft year, there was no one else to pick that really challenged him for the first overall pick. But it scared the heck out of me at the time that the year before he was shut down with forearm discomfort. He got through it. He came back the next year, but you had to know that was, ticking time bomb sounds dramatic, but there was something brewing probably. And I always wonder in the first couple of years he was in Detroit, where sometimes we were a little underwhelmed with his stuff. Was he pitching around that issue as best he could before it finally went? So I am really excited to see him come back next spring and be full go Casey Mize. That would be a lot of fun to see, and hopefully it is what we hope it is.
No, and that's one of the things where it is we've heard things that he was pitching hurt in Erie. And so there's been talk about that since days in college. So who knows how long he's been in the state. So the splitter. Hopefully, we'll see the splitter again. I mean, that is a pitch that's coming back in vogue. But I would be fine with him just going out there and doing what Matt Manning has done. Matt Manning is the numbers are not. He's just going out there and pitching, but it was just one of those things where he's gone out there and getting the job done. It's not exactly pretty, but still, I mean, there's no joke. I mean, the numbers he's put up has been able to keep the Tigers afloat. They won today, although despite the meltdown, we'll talk about that series here in a second. But I just would like Casey Mize at least be a pitcher.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter to me if you can go out there every day and pitch, then that's what he needs to do. And again, this is part of I don't know what plan as far as like him coming back when he wants to. I'm okay, and okay BK said that too. He said if he's ready for 2024, I agree. There's no reason to rush him right now, especially with the season technically over for the Tigers.
Yeah, no question. I just think back to his first couple of years in Detroit, and I talked about it on the show back then. His fastball just was the least scary looking fastball around. Okay. I'm just excited to see if there's more life to it. If he's able to challenge people a little bit more. I just have to believe no one ever felt uncomfortable in the batter's box against Casey Mize that we saw the first year and a half or so. I'm hopeful that's a big change when he comes back full strength.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he's going to complement that with his slider, because the sliders, I mean, that was a pitch he was working on it had some really good movement to it as well. But I think the split finger, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it just seems it's one of those pitches that they don't throw right away right after surgery because of the amount of torque it has on it. So,
yep.
So another interesting number today came out. Zach Short's home run in the fifth gave the Tigers 39 home runs in August, the most they've scored in any month since they hit 41 in September 2008. And that was a tweet by our own Chris Brown, who will not be joining us this evening. And that was, I mean, the power has been nice. I mean, but they were outscored 17-9 in the series. And Chris also tweeted out Spencer Torkelson's with numbers on, guys on battery, not getting the guys on base home. So that presented an issue. And the Yankees, it came at the right time for the Yankees because the Tigers, I don't know, it was a series of just like the balloon deflated a little bit.
Before you got here, I was talking a little bit about it. I just think it shows where Detroit really is. I mean, they were outclassed by the Astros last weekend, and it wasn't quite as pronounced against the Yankees, but you could still see that even this weakened Yankee team that is nowhere near some of the wonderful Yankee teams of days past, they still got a better outfit, top to bottom. It just shows where Detroit needs to go.
Yeah, and especially Sunday's game against Houston, that was just an embarrassment. It was one of the most embarrassing games I've seen in a while, and you could just tell the Tigers just looked spent. Yep. But no, and it's interesting because around the division, and they go to Chicago, Chris Getz, and that whole situation to me, I don't know about you, Yooper, but doesn't it seem a little quick? I mean, it just seemed like a coup or some sort. Like it was just a White Sox coup going on.
Well, there's always been those whispers that Chris Getz was very popular and in Reinsdorf's, circle. And I think La Russa may have liked Getz a little bit, So there could still be some La Russa love trickling in that organization. So I can't believe that. I think they put it out there that they didn't interview anyone else. They looked at no one. It's amazing for that job. I mean, that critical position to build that team and run that organization, they did not even consider any other outside sources of talent. They just think Chris Getz is the man.
You know what? Hey, that's fine. You know what? That's fine, because if you're a Tigers fan right now, you're going, nice work. Nice work, Jerry Reinsdorf. Nice job. Same boss. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, is the Who once saying, because that's just it's ridiculous. Yeah, White Sox fans are furious, and rightfully so. You literally you have an organization right now that is. This is the reason. Like, White Sox fans have a chip on their shoulder because obviously everyone, the lovable Cubs, and Old BK with the comment in here. There's a ghost of William Clay Ford Sr. He possesses him. Oh, yes, that was a good one. Good to see you in here, by the way, Samuel. A friend from Montreal in here on our YouTube chat. No, just okay, fine. You want to hire Chris Getz? By all means. Let's look at his experience, shall we? Let's look at Chris Getz's experience as what he's been able to do in terms of his GM experience, shall we? Shall we do that?
Mhm.
Let's see here. He is a Michigan man. I mean, for whatever that is worth. I mean, he's from Grosse Pointe South. So, let's see here. He was promoted to assistant general manager in 2021. He was part of the hiring process for the manager, the Pedro Gafal they have now. So, in terms of like, yeah, he just turned. I mean, like that's it. I mean, am I missing something? And is more and more experience there, or is that it? I mean,
it just makes you wonder, since he was part of hiring Grifol, if that was part of just keeping him there so they don't have to pay off another manager.
You know what, Uper? Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because that's the Reindorf thing to do, right?
Yeah,
I'm not paying extra money. Screw that. Speaking of not paying extra money too, or just screwing things up, the Angels decided to go put everybody on waivers. And guess what? Cleveland cleaned up. They picked up Lucas Giolito, speaking of White Sox, Ronaldo Lopez, and former Tiger Matt Moore. And the Reds picked up Hunter Renfroe and Harrison Bader. So if you're by the way, this was all reported by Jeff Passan earlier. So if you are a Ohio fan of baseball, which I don't think there's too many people in here, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Whatever the case is, you're thinking, thank you, LA. Angels. Who are more dysfunctional, Uper? The Angels or the White Sox? you know, we're gonna ask. We're gonna put a poll in here. YouTube, everybody who's watching us on YouTube, who's the most dysfunctional team in here?
Well, the Angels. I mean, they potentially could have gotten for a rental one of the best prospect returns ever for a rental with Shohei Ohtani if they had put him on the market, right?
Right.
They pass on that. So they decide, hey, we're going to buy and we're going to go for it. And, some people thought that was fantastic. At least they made a good faith effort. Hey, we're going to make a push. Well, Ohtani gets hurt, and all of a sudden they pull the plug after less than a month. Just absolute embarrassing. They changed course with the wind. The wind changed direction, and so did they. So unbelievable. For the White Sox, it's interesting. What's the White Sox identity? When you think of the White Sox, what do you think of? That's to me, that is just an anonymous team now, which is amazing, because a year or two ago we thought, that's a team on the rise. Now they're just kind of a nothing. I mean, they're just a team that's kind of floating out there.
I don't know. I really think, I look at it this way. Remember, Luis Robert was the identity. That's what I was thinking of. And then Bobby Abreu, who was, I think, the heart and soul of Bobby Abreu. Wow. Jose Abreu. Abreu went to Houston. But you're the Angels. This is a team that 2 years ago took 20 pitchers in the draft.
Yeah.
20 pitchers. Who does that?
Bizarre.
But no, you're right, though. But like the White Sox, yeah, Ohtani, you know what? See, having Ohtani go 9 against the Tigers is pretty bad. So I'm going to put the Mets, White Sox in our poll. Mets, White Sox, and Angels in our poll. Who is the most dysfunctional team that you've seen this season? Because honestly, the White Sox to me are. Here's another thing too. You have all this great young batting talent. Last year, they had this great team, and like even they had a good pitching staff, and nothing came of it. Nothing. They were the best team in the division by far last year in terms of talent on paper. Better than Minnesota. You imagine being Minnesota right now. You're just sitting there going, "What do we have to do? We don't have to do a damn thing.
Yeah.
We don't do anything at the damn trade deadline because we know Chicago is going to shoot themselves in the foot. The only team they should be worried about, and rightfully so, is Cleveland. I'm still convinced that Cleveland's going to make the postseason. Will they win the division? I'm not sure about that, but I thought they would be the one that Oakland is pretty dysfunctional. No, you're right, Todd. I should have put Oakland in there, but I was looking for more the Oakland is like Oakland's too easy. You know, you can you know what I mean, like they're just poor, piss
Yeah.
poor management, piss poor the way they. I mean, they have a possum in the away booth for Christ's sake, in the broadcast booth. They have a possum living in there.
Well, they literally don't try to win at times, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets are trying to win. They just aren't capable of it these days. And um, uh, same with the White Sox. You know, they thought they had a team and ended up not having a team a couple years back. So, you know, I did hear the Mets were pretty much cleaning house in their front office.
Bloodright, thank you for the $10, by the way, and he's absolutely right. The Los Angeles Angels translates as the Angels.
Right.
Off the Frickers building. Exquisite.
I even, you know what? As being Hispanic, how did I totally miss that? Is wow. I am. You know what? That's bad. That is bad. I'm a terrible Hispanic person. Wow. Okay.
Well,
Wow.
well, you know, they say, you know, the TVOs, oh, he's a cop's cop or he's a manager's manager, right? Now, the Angels.
Yeah, Angels. He's yeah. There is just that's good. That's gold. All right. But yeah, there's functionality. But I look with Cleveland. I like the way Cleveland handled the waiver wire there. That was good. So let's continue on. The Yankees. We just missed the Yankees calling up Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells, two of the biggest prospects they have, and so I think the Yankees are basically saying the Padres too. Yeah, you know what? You can put the Padres in there too. Jacob in our chat says the Padres.
They seem like they're like dysfunctional when it comes to chemistry. Seems like, you know, they sign the good names on the back of all the jerseys, but they kind of put everybody in the bag and shake them up and throw them on the field, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, but at least they're entertaining. The White Sox are not entertaining right now, so at least we can. Well, you know what? The Padres are entertaining, so that we'll just give them a pass. The Angels are just a joke, and at least the Padres are somewhat competitive. I mean, so, but yeah, the White Sox or the Yankees rather are basically saying, "Hey, we're just gonna go with all." I mean, they have a pretty young roster, anyways. I mean, they had that. It was bound to happen, and so, and I saw Jason Dominguez play last year for Somerset in the playoffs against Erie. That kid's fast. He's one of the fastest players I've seen in a long time.
Is that right?
Good bat to ball skills. Just hit. I mean, you hear it. He hits it. It's a crack. It really is. Yeah. So it's really, I really think that they're onto something with him. So,
well, there's a few good players coming up. You know, that's more fan pressure going to be put on Scott Harris about Tigers players who may or may not need to be called up because other teams are bringing up some young talent.
Yeah,
I don't blame Tiger fans saying, "Why aren't we?"
Yeah, look, I mean, Uper, wouldn't it be embarrassing that Cole Keefe hits 30 home runs this year because he's at 24. He had another. Him and Jahan went back to back tonight.
Yep.
And if he hits 30 in Toledo for the season, that's just embarrassing. He doesn't even get sniff called up. So
that's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, that's bad. I mean, it's not like he's Quincy Deporte, who hit 30 last year for the Tigers in Erie.
Sure,
because that's a guy who was a minor league veteran. That was a guy who's been around or was coming back. So
independent leagues and other things.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So
put this way, what's the drawback? What would be the disaster scenario of Colt Keith playing in Detroit? Is there one?
No, there's not. I mean, the only thing they would have to do is they would have to make room for somebody on the 40-man roster. So that's the problem. He's not on the 40-man roster, so they have to put a spot for him. So the question becomes then, who gets the axe? Like right now with Lipsius and Perez, they're on the 40-man. So if they get called up tomorrow, then it makes a lot of sense because Perez has, like I said, we said this earlier, they've been both playing pretty solid. So that's the only drawback, Uber. I mean, in terms of defensively, Harris was talking about his defense and base running, and it's like, come on, man, like get off. Really, like
it seems a little weak.
Yeah.
Because when the Tigers are 13 games under 500 or whatever they are, why can't they work on their defense in Detroit? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And also, I just don't buy into anything. If he comes up and hits $150, that his confidence will be shot for next year. I doubt that very much, right?
Is it Vasquez? Vasquez is the reliever that just added, isn't it? The lefty from Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Vasquez. Because somebody was asking about the one they just added, the ERA over 9. Baez doesn't have any minor league options. They're not going to send down Baez, and Verlander. I don't think it's going to. Verlander can do some things. So, yeah, the guy I'm thinking of. Let me pull up the guy who. Yeah, because this is where. Again, I when I saw this move, I was kind of like.
First name begins with a B. It's like
Bennett something or another.
Bennett Souza.
Yeah, Bennett Souza. Yeah, thank you. I don't understand. I mean, the only thing I could think of, the only reason why I was thinking that they called him up or signed him in the first place, rather, is they do not have any lefties right now down in AAA. They have some. They don't have. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, but they don't. They're not going to bring up Adam Wolf or Andrew Magno. So that's it. And I think that's the only reason why. That's the only thing that I can think of. So. In the last part, before we get to our segments, prosecutors in the Dominican Republic are investigating a second formal complaint lodged by an underage girl against Wander DeFranco. So now we're looking at 3 allegations for Franco. So,
the smoke is getting worse, right? It just again, I'll say it again. You hope for his sake that it's a money grab hoax, but judging by the pictures and more allegations, it's not looking like that. It's looking like there's probably some meat on the bone there.
Yeah, and when you start getting more than multiple numbers like that, that's when you have problems like that. So,
yep.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to probably it'd be too easy to do or ugly for that. I mean, that's probably going to be our ugly for a while. So, but we'll look at something else different. Let's go on inside the numbers. All right, Uper, what is your inside the number?
Let's see. My inside the number is a very simple one: 250 and 300. The Atlanta Braves hit their 250th home run on August 30th. That's set a team record with a month to go. So they have an outside shot at 300 home runs this year if they can keep hitting 50 a month. So just an amazing lineup that they've built. Up and down the lineup, there is just always the danger of a 3-run homer lurking with the Atlanta Braves. That's a nice way to play baseball. I would enjoy playing baseball that way.
And that's the Earl Weaver way of playing baseball.
Exactly right. So it's a fun team to watch. I don't know how much Braves baseball you watch. I do like Acuna and Michael Harris, so I have been watching sporadically. I mean, I'll watch 2-3 innings here and there. They crush people in the first inning. Ronald Acuna is just a run generator, and it always seems like they're playing from ahead all the time. But yeah, they're at 250 dingers and shooting for 300.
They are a fun watch. I mean, there's one of those things where their rotation's also pretty deep too. Their bullpen, they've done a very good job of constructing a team for the postseason, as Tiger Town said in our chat, and he's absolutely right. I mean, there's one thing about that division too, with Miami and Philadelphia and Washington. It's pretty much now just the Braves and Phillies.
Yeah.
The Phillies have turned it on as of late too. So it's been, we can pretend that Miami has been a contender, but if you look at the rest of the NL right now, it is essentially pretty much like just, I mean, look at the Dodgers. Dodgers are like, at one point, remember how the Dodgers are struggling? They are just, they're just 4 games back of the Braves, the best record in the NL.
Well, Bryce Harper, when he came back early from the Tommy John surgery, he didn't have a lot of power through the early part of this summer. He's starting to crank it up now. He's swinging the bat.
He's a beast.
Exceptionally well over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. The bottom line is this. This is the one thing about baseball. You know, it would be the postseason if they repeated, but this is the thing. Like, baseball is a beautiful game where teams like that can come out of nowhere. But right now, it's the separation's so big in the National League right now. It's not even. I mean, the American League is one thing, but in the National League, it's another. So my inset number was 95. Or excuse me, where did it go? Oh, show. This is what happens when your tabs crash. Oh, I hate Google Chrome. Oh, yeah, here it is. So my inside number this week is 95. It was 95. That's the extension, and because he's the 95th percentile, Matt Manning. What's his extension? His fastball is just around 93, 94. Kind of looks more like 96, 97, which is why he's been probably having some success with it. Per the definition according to MLB.com, extension, for those who may not know what it is, quantifies exactly how much closer to a pitcher's release point is to home plate. Taller pitchers with long wingspans tend to have the longest extensions because their frames allow them to hold on to the ball for greater distance before releasing it. So, that's if there's one thing about Matt Manning, 6'5", 6'6" wingspan there. That's definitely the case there. And so you look at the play. If you look at some of his baseball savant numbers too, they just they are very scratching your head about it, where it's you're not expecting it, but hey, look, Tigers kind of deserve some luck, like not necessarily luck, but they deserve a little bit of but having that kind of extension does help.
You bet.
You being an ump, I mean, in terms of, let me ask you this: when you see a pitcher like that, where they have that tall wingspan, does that throw you off too as an ump?
It does. I mean, I would agree. The long legs, long arms, they tend to have a longer windup. You just sometimes have a harder time picking up the ball, especially the first time you've seen somebody, a couple innings. It can take a couple innings, and for hitters that means possibly 2 at bats. And the way the game is structured now, you only see someone maybe 3 times.
This is gonna say, because it just seems like, because especially calling balls and strikes, to see that kind of like, especially if they slow a slider down like that so quick, and you just have to, that's
this is a totally different discussion. But when we talk about umpiring, sometimes, and I don't get into this with the people on Twitter sometimes, but late in the games, sometimes these umpires have never seen these relievers before, ever. And if you don't think umpires get fooled once in a while by a pitch, well, I can tell you they do, because they're humans. So just like batters get fooled.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of was like thinking about these, especially with Matt Manning too, especially when you could see his fastball too. So I'm like, it's the way the release point. I'll have to slow it down. I want to do something with that. The Guardians DFA'd Haas. Wow, really? Oh,
I'm sorry you broke up there. Who's that?
Oh, the Stan put in the chat that the Guardians DFA'd Haas already.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say about that one. I'm surprised it was that quick, but in other respects, he has looked so poor that I guess I'm maybe not surprised.
Oh, the Tigers did. Wait, hold on. The Tigers did call him up. All right, so there it is. All right. Hell yeah. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to celebrate this.
What do we got?
Andre Lipsius was recalled from Toledo.
Okay. There you go.
This is a guy who
he's been your man for a long time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's you know what? I'm not beside myself. It's awesome. No, seriously, it is awesome. It is beyond awesome. And yeah. All right.
So what are fans going to see with him? Give us the quick 30-second synopsis.
What they're going to see from Andre Lipsius is a solid defender who can play multiple positions. He can play first, he can play second, he can play third. He can hold his own. He has a good eye at the plate, can draw walks. More of a gap hitter than a home run hitter, but he's a guy who will be able to make solid contact. But again, he's a utility player. and he has been always working on his swing. He's always been a guy who studies the game. Smart guy. Was a nuclear engineer at the university, or studying at University of Tennessee.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So do you think we see less of Zach McKinstry or less of Zach Short?
That's
Or
a good
Ibanez?
question. Or yeah. It's it's a good question. Now, if Winfield Perez also gets a call up, then somebody has to go, I would think. So, I mean, Lipsius could play third. Him between him and Matt Verlin, we'll see what happens there. But wow, this is breaking news today. This has been a throw myself off the game here. It's like I never thought the day that it would happen, I would be on air for that. So.
Well, it's awesome. That's great. It's good for the organization to inject the fresh blood into at the big league level. Hopefully that does mean we'll see some Malloy, we'll see some Cold Keith at some point. Why not? I mean, what do they have to lose at this point for those players? I don't think it's a service time issue or anything like that.
No, not at all. It's right now. It's just really kind of like, to me, it just seems like it makes a lot more sense for the Tigers to do this at this point, because honestly, why not? Why not get, like, what else you got to play for right now? I mean, if we're, I'm not trying to be morbid about it, but it's true. Like, it's to the point where it's like, okay, well, the rest of the I mean, as far as like what the Tigers are going to do, they got the Dodgers. They got to go to LA. I mean, they have a pretty tough month ahead too.
Sure,
sledding here. So why not?
I would say, if I had to guess, if Wenzel Perez comes up as well, I would think it's Zach Short, right? Has to go.
Yeah.
I would personally. I like Short. I don't know if I like him more than McKinstry though. It's I don't think it matters in the end. I mean, neither one is going to help you win a title. But who would you rather keep around? Hard to say. I guess maybe McKinstry has done a little more for them this year. He's had more opportunities.
Yeah, you know what? Though I think, like, as much as, look, Ibanez has been a plus player. I mean, he has been able to. He hasn't hurt himself, and so you feel bad, but at the same time, like, if you're going to be thinking about the future here, so much, then there you go.
See, I like Ibanez more than I like McKinstry and Short. I think there's more power lurking there. I really do.
Yeah, no, I think the one thing, let me ask you this, because I think what keeps McKinstry here is because he can play the outfield, but then again, you also can, the Tigers really, I think they're set right now with Meadows being that he can play all over the outfield. So, I don't know. This is gonna be fun. So we're gonna stick around anyways, because we still have to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, Uber, what is your good, the bad, and the third option? Your choice.
I went with ugly today, actually. But my good is everyone should go to Baseball America or to JJ Cooper's Twitter account. He has an article that's free right now, so you don't have to be a subscriber. It's about the ABS strike zone system in AAA and how they're going to be making some changes next year. It's a great article. Definitely worth your time if you're someone who wants to see robo-umps in the big league someday. It's definitely something you want to read. They are making some changes that one of my lasting problems with going to the robo-ump is having the same strike zone for every player, no matter what kind of body type they are. So, Jose Altuve and Aaron Judge having the same strike zone makes no sense, right? Even some guys who are the same height have different lengths, upper bodies or lower bodies. They should have different strike zones. So they are implementing something in AAA next year where they will have the technology to alter the strike zone based on the body type and the stance of the player that comes into the box. If that works, then we're getting to the point where why wouldn't you use the technology, right?
Right.
Then it's becoming much more fair, because as it stands right now, I don't care what you say, that box we see on TV is meaningless. I mean, I make fun of it. Sometimes I look and use it, as a general guide, but it's the same for every batter. It makes no sense. So it's only kind of a rough guide and not the a Bible of making these calls. So I'm very interested to see that next year. Definitely go read JJ Cooper's piece at Baseball America about it. It's worth your 5 minutes. My bad. I was going to talk about the general malaise of the last week, but I kind of, before you got here, I was just kind of vamping away on that a little bit. I'm going to change to Riley Green on the fly here. I didn't look up any numbers, but I'm just going to kind of see what I see. He's hitting a lot of ground balls recently. He's a young player. He still doesn't have a ton of experience in the big leagues. I don't care how talented he is. There's going to be some ups and downs, but he's hitting the ball on the ground an awful lot. And it's just a slump. I don't think it's anything to worry about long term. Obviously, the man he's extremely talented. He's going to help carry this team to wherever it's going to go in the next few years. But just in my non-professional mind, his swing looks long to me at times. Versus some of his hot streaks, he's a little quicker. To me, I don't know, Raj. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. It seems like he throws his hands at the ball, and the bat head really lags behind. He tries to fire it through, and if he's late with that at all, he kind of just rolls it over and hits those ground balls, and he's kind of an easy out at that point.
No, I think there's something to that, though. I mean, I think it is sometimes equally frustrating, because then when you see him, sometimes that same swing equals a double in the gap sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's like bring back Jim Price's buggy whip. There are times where he is really whipping that bat through the zone, and he's hot as hell. But to me, it looks like it's been lagging a bit lately. His hands are coming, but the bat head's back there, and it's just not whipping through like it was a month ago. So, and again, he's a young guy. He might be getting tired as the year goes on here. We'll just have to see what September brings. Ugly. Today, there was a beautiful play made. Carson Kelly, there was a little bouncer off the plate with a runner on first late in the game. I think it was the 8th inning. Carson Kelly came up out of his stance, grabbed that ball immediately while it was in fair territory, and tagged the batter runner, fired to second. Ibanez, I think for a second, had to remember that he had to tag the runner because the force had been taken off when they tagged the batter. And the Tigers got a double play to end the inning. It was fantastic. Really quick move by Kelly. The Yankees announcers, however, again, these are guys who've been around the league, been around baseball their whole life. They're paid to impart knowledge on us. And they were dead sure that the ball had to be in front of the plate for it to be a fair ball. And then they showed a replay where it definitely wasn't in front of the plate. Unfortunately for them, that's not the rule. The ball has to be over any part of the plate. It can be over the scantest millimeter of the plate, and that's a fair ball. So, and that's what Carson Kelly did. He leapt up and got that and made a wonderful double play. The Yankees, unfortunately, left their announcers left their fans thinking they got hosed. Okay, and they didn't get hosed.
Of course.
So another example of the announcers just didn't quite know enough about the rules of the game they're covering.
Yeah. They always do that too. The Yankee, it's a Yankee thing. It's not. It goes from the announcers to, so, yeah, yeah. It's just it's a thing they do. Yeah. They always overreact about everything.
They do. There's no doubt.
So, all right. Let's see here. So the Andrew Lipsius thing, it's been throwing me off. So, honestly, I would be my good. It's just that right now. My original good was going to be going into some more of the Matt Manning stuff. Matt, what he's done the last couple starts, but At least the Yankee broadcasters who talk about baseball. He's right about that. So, but no, today the good is the Andre Lipsius. This is a guy who I've been. Again, this is not to toot my own horn. It's not. I'm not trying to do that. But the hell with it. The hell with it. I'm not, just since
Hey.
20. Go ahead.
You were a believer in him, Raj, before the vast majority of Tiger fans had any conception of who he was. And this is the vindication. This is the payoff. He's a big leaguer.
Yeah, it's man, I don't know. It's a really good day for him. Really good day for guys like that who just busted his ass. And I remember I got a friendly argument with Jay Markle, bless you boys. You're already writing off Nick Quintana, but you're gonna put Andre Lipsius over him. Yeah. I was right.
Yeah, Mr. Quintana. Where's he selling insurance these days?
Or real estate. No, but in all seriousness, that's just good. So my bad, and it was something that Stan mentioned about Riley Green's numbers, but my bad goes to the way in terms of how the Angels. This is too like the way they've handled the Angels have handled the baseball, the waivers. The Los Angeles Angels are my bad this week. They're just really the whole thing is just, what are you doing here? And the owners were pissed at Artie. Like, really? Artie Moreno is my bad. He's just, I really think that he was trying to do these things to keep Ohtani, and then when he realized it wasn't going to work, and then Ohtani was shut down. Like, again, throwing in there's just so many things that the Angels do wrong.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, they can be perpetually bad, but it's just, it's so easy to put them as their bad. But honestly, it's just, they want to get under the luxury tax. Granted, yes, as Stan mentioned here in the chat, but come on. I mean, really? You moved your team to put yourself in the media market to get that shines because it wasn't the same as Anaheim. What a cheap. He's one of the richest men in the world. What a cheap fuck. Pardon my language. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had to say it. Yeah. So anyway. Oh, sorry. I had to say it because he's just.
No,
he's mending.
That's another team. What is their identity? They had an identity of Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and somehow they failed to build a winner around that. And now they're going to move forward. How are they moving forward with those two guys? And how does it look to them, especially when Shohei is a free agent, even with the injury, that the Angels are out to, cut a few bucks here for the last 4 weeks of the season. Can't look too impressive to him. I personally think Shohei is going to move either to Seattle or the Mets.
Yeah, I think so too. And my ugly is the Kansas City Royals, who have lost 6 straight for the second straight month in a row. They've lost 6 straight for a stretch. Man.
I think I saw a note. They're the farthest under 500 they've ever been in franchise history.
That's saying something, because remember, those Royals teams in the 90s we watched were horrible, but you're getting outscored. And I look at the Seattle series as an example of this. They get outscored by 25. It was a 25 to, let's see here. I'm going to do my math real quick here. 25 to 9. I mean, but they just got just annihilated. 15 to, it was Saturday. It was last Saturday's game.
Yeah.
It was laughing stock. And then you go out and get shut out at home against Pittsburgh. Come on.
Yeah, their plan has fallen apart. And they're another team. They fired Dayton Moore, and they never looked around either. They brought in the homegrown replacement there, JJ Piccolo. What does you say, Piccolo? Doesn't matter. They didn't look around either. They just hired a guy who'd been there the whole time Dayton Moore had been there. So a lot of Kansas City observers were like, WTF with that,
What? That too, but here's a breaking news. Miguel Diaz gets called. What? Miguel Diaz?
The pitcher
The pitcher for Toledo. with Ellipsius.
Wow.
What?
What's he
What?
What's he been doing?
Let me tell you, a whole lot of nothing.
I didn't think so.
What just happened? What just happened?
Well, obviously, you know,
He does have.
Malloy,
he does.
Malloy wasn't ready. His laundry's not done, so he didn't want to go.
Oh my God! Then they have to make a corresponding move for that, then, right?
I think so.
Uh,
Miguel Diaz.
Miguel Diaz. I mean, no offense to. Wow.
Have you seen him play?
Wow, I mean, I've seen him pitch. I mean, when his command's on, he's good, but that's the thing. His command's he's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Really inconsistent. You saw him pitch in Iowa, didn't you?
I think I did, yeah, but it was kind of a nondescript outing. I mean, nothing that said, "Hey, you got to get him up there."
Okay, all right. Wow, man, that's a weird way to end the podcast, right, Uper? I mean, that's Miguel
Breaking news.
Miguel Diaz. No one look if you had Miguel Diaz in your Deadpool or call up pool, then you know somebody that works in an organization because there's no way. Yeah, he did say. Granted, he did say he was going to call up a pitcher, but Miguel Diaz was not the one I was thinking of. Actually, because really, I mean, then again, really, it's a hodgepodge of crap in Toledo. I'm sorry, that sounds harsh, but there's just a lot of bad pitchers in Toledo.
No, it's true. It's true, Raj. I was thinking that maybe it'd be Sawyer Gibson Long, only because he's at least been effective.
Yeah. Yeah, Sawyer Gibson Long. Yeah, I would take that. But Miguel Diaz, I really wish Chris was here because I think he would have the same kind of reaction to, like, really? Miguel Diaz? I would, yeah. Sawyer Gibson Long has pitched really well. Jack O'Hooligan, they need lefties, but that maybe that would have been too much. I'm sorry, that might be too much of a stretch.
Well, as a reliever, though, I'm wondering as a reliever, could he hang in there? As a starter, he probably would get torched.
But that's the thing, too. The only thing I don't understand is he's not on the 40-man, so they would have to make a corresponding move for him. So that's where I'm kind of, and Michael was pointing out there too. That's why I scratched my head about it because I was just thinking to myself, who are they gonna give the axe to then at this point?
There must be somebody they can put on a 60-day.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I feel like a dick. Dale Diaz has pitched better as of late. So after having a month in July where he had an ERA of 90 or almost 10, in August he's going to ERA 1.54. 11 innings, 18 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 runs. So he's pitched better as of late.
Okay.
So there we go.
He's probably going to get, even if he sticks with the club for the entire month, what's he going to, at tops, he's going to get what, 8 to 10 innings?
Yeah. No, I trust him. Trust him, Fetter. There we go. What a night, Uber. Breaking news on a night that we didn't expect. Wait, September 1st is tomorrow, and Cameron, I would call him one of our producers, because I would consider Cameron a producer. Like, you guys should talk about September calls. Like, oh yeah, but I always thought it was a foregone conclusion. Who is it going to be? But I didn't expect the activity tonight. But thanks to Stan, who let me know, I was on my way home from. The reason why I'm late was because I had softball tonight. I had a doubleheader that ended at 8:37, and there was a sequence, Uper, that. And here I am. I just came off. I had COVID and sucked. And you remember last Thursday? Last Thursday was terrible. I was coughing the whole time.
Yes.
I didn't know I had COVID though, but now I'm clear and all that. I'm good. And I took the PET stuff. I'm all set. Anyway, I had 2 plays that came to me. First and foremost, I tried to turn a double play and I didn't. But then one ball got smoked to me and it threw me back. And I managed to throw it over to Cody Saberhagen, who plays on my softball team.
Yeah.
And we got the out. And then I had to go up at bat. Then it was a pop-up that got the stung the bat, and then somehow it dropped in the infield. They overthrow it at first, and I decided to run to second for whatever reason. And that was too much of my body. It's like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, look, I know I'm a heavy set guy, but it was just like, why are you running so much?
Did you
And I
get
get
there?
to I got there. Then I get
Okay.
back to the bench. I'm like, I'm like wheezing. I wasn't wheezing, but surprisingly, I wasn't wheezing as much. So,
Oh,
but
that's
anyway,
good.
yeah. Oh, it was a very crazy evening. But thank you, Uper, again for holding down the fort, and thank you everybody for watching tonight on YouTube, and everybody listening at home. Thanks. There's been some change, like somebody reached out to us. Apparently, they've been having a hard time trying to find us on Spotify. We're working on the issue right now. Not sure what's going on with it, but I talked to our friends over at the Fans First Network, and there's some good folks. And I'm getting to the bottom of that right now. So thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. We'll get back to you probably Monday. I think there's going to be some more news coming up. I will be tomorrow. I will be in Erie tomorrow for the whole entire Paul Skeens experience.
Nice.
So Paul Skeens is coming to Erie tomorrow, and I will be out there for it. So I got the radar gun, I got the camera. Apparently, his Olivia Dunn, who is the gymnast who's popular apparently for being attractive, is in town. Apparently, I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be sold out tomorrow. So I have a seat, and so I'm gonna take pictures running around. And I was asked to, like, they were like, "Oh, if you want to stick around on Saturday," I don't know. I don't think I will. I just need to.
Yeah, that'd be fun though. That'd be great. You weren't at Job's outing last day, were you?
Oh, that was Chris. So props to Chris. Wow. I want to say shout out to Chris Brown, who covered some games out in Lansing. I will be posting videos of Paul Skeens. Yes, I will be posting video. I will be doing that as a service to everybody else there who wants to see it. Tiger Minor League Report will be doing Paul Skeens tomorrow.
Cool.
One exception, because it's Paul Skeens. And how often does that happen?
Raj's special tribute to Andre Lipsius will be coming out next Tuesday as well.
Yeah. No, Chris Brown will not be in Erie tomorrow. Chris is in Lansing tomorrow. So we're splitting duties. So it's weird. We have been doing that lately, and it's been kind of more effective. Like, just not necessarily effective. It actually sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Chris and I, we have a really good rapport. Mm-hmm. There's nothing but good things about Jackson Jobe. Jackson Jobe's yesterday start was carte blanche. Phenomenal stuff. And he's
a couple of the videos, a couple of those pitches just look sick. I mean, just absolutely sick.
And all the the Justin Spiros and all those people in the world that usually post a video of Marcel Meyer or whatever, it's just been quietly down. So I mean,
he's at like $170 or something, right?
Yeah, $170 in year AA right now. So I haven't kept up because I don't care.
I'm sure he's fine, but he's still fine. Funny.
Yeah. Oh, is it my job's to travel? So I want to know okay. What we do is all volunteer. That's why we put the PayPal and all that. I do the scouting. We do all the reports. We all do all that. I do get paid. If I write for Fansided, but it's not very much, if barely at all. But Tiger Minor Report is a whole volunteer operation. So we do the scouting reports, we do all that, and we do it for we do it because we love doing it. And
personal satisfaction.
Personal satisfaction. And we just like doing it. And it's like, I would love for this to be my full-time job one day, but it's not.
You would deserve that. What I can tell the folks, if there's any first-time listeners or short-time listeners, the fact that you guys do that for really just for your personal growth and enjoyment of the sport, and so many fans get to access that for free, and really get to enjoy what you guys do, what you bring to them that they wouldn't see otherwise, is pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, I put the donate button in our chat there. It goes, you can do like a super chat here, but YouTube takes a certain percentage, or you can just go right to us. So we, again, in terms of like how many subscribers we've gained this year. This is our biggest number for YouTube we've ever had. In terms of per season, per year. Now in Twitter, there's over 14,000 followers on Twitter, and the website is doing pretty well traffic wise too. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. And it's, again, it's a passion thing for us. I even hate asking people for money, that kind of thing. But after a while, people, it's one of those things where they're like, oh, come on. It's like, okay, fine. But we just do it because the reason why for tomorrow is, again, Paul Skeens in Erie is going to be a rare thing. And there's the buzz around it tomorrow too. I'm actually leaving earlier than I normally do because of all the things that are going on with it. But nevertheless, there'll be some video, and we appreciate. We'll be back. There'll probably be a Monday show after the series against the White Sox, and we'll see if there's any other. We'll see what the corresponding move is for Miguel Diaz because they do have to make a move. So for myself and Uper, have a great night, everybody. Have a great weekend, and enjoy Labor Day. Which means what? You